Hi, and welcome to Direct Emotion. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. My name is Althea, and if you have just tuned in this very first time, and this is the first video you've seen, check back on the other ones. What we talk about is the emotional causes behind a lot of the issues that are present in our life. How do we overcome them? How do we work through them? And where do we start? So, fitting with the season of Halloween, today we're going to be talking about fear. Now, there's a lot of different types of fear, and it's amazing how fear plays in our life. Sometimes it prevents us from doing things, sometimes it can keep us from accomplishing things, but most of the time, it keeps us in a state where we cannot succeed, where we cannot reach our highest potential. And after all, that is what we're really after. When we feel our best, look our best, we automatically do our best, which allows us to make great choices and experience all the joys in life, even though we have some turmoil. So let's talk a little bit about some of the fears. Okay, this will be a small list, it won't be the complete list, but let's take a look at some of the most common fears. How about the fear of asking for anything? Now, if this is something that you can relate to, I will explain that, most of the time why we have it is because we often feel like we don't deserve it. Or if we do have something, that it can be taken away from us at any moment. And, other times we feel like maybe we don't have the right to impose on other people. And sometimes we don't feel like we're worth their time. Now, when we start working through that particular thing, we find that being able to ask for help when we need it is something that we can start doing. We find that others respond to our requests. How about a more common one is the fear of failure? A lot of people struggle with the fear of failure. And why does this affect us so much? Sometimes we feel like maybe we can't live up to our obligations or expectations. This can lead us to taking on more than what we can do, which again kind of propels us into that fear of failure, not being able to keep up with that stuff. Being able to work through those kind of things can allow us to be able to say no once in a while without feeling guilt. So sometimes it's also caused from taking on too much responsibility as a child. Maybe there was just things going on in your early life that could not be prevented, and it kind of had you step up way before you were ready. Being able to work through that aspect of it allows you to be able to respond better to those around you and relax. Now, one of the most common ones that a lot of people experience is the fear of public speaking. Sometimes this comes from maybe we feel like, oh, if I get in front of a large group, I'm going to blurt out a secret, because honestly, looking out into the crowd makes me feel like I'm under an intense questioning or an inquisition. Sometimes we don't want to be humiliated if we find out that our thoughts may be a little bit different than somebody else's. And sometimes we really do feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to blow it. And therefore we criticize ourselves to the point where we're not even going to attempt to public speak at any time. Being able to work through those aspects of it allows us a lot of freedom. Now, let's take another common one, a fear of the dark. Where does this kind of stem from? Well, one of the things that it creates is it teaches us that we cannot relax. A lot of times we jokingly say, oh, don't let the boogeyman get you. We don't quite understand that when we have something that is so ill-defined as the boogeyman, it really can lead our subconscious mind to elaborate, thus telling us that when it's time to relax, we can't. Being able to work through the fear of the dark allows us to be able to soul search ourselves, to be able to kind of explore hidden subconscious things that may be preventing us from successfulness in other points in our life. Now, one of the last things that I'm going to address is a fear rage. Now, we've seen this type of reaction in many people that we love and cherish and everything like that, and we wonder what makes them do this. This is when any reaction, they're immediately just exploding over it. What happens is they are really making the whole thing, all of their worst fears, are being recognized at that particular point. That is one of the reasons why it is a fear rage. They don't quite know how to react, and thus it comes out as this explosion, kind of verifying to them that all of their worst fears are happening. Now, the other aspect of this is sometimes in this fear rage reaction, it's our inability to be able to fix things. Being kind of like if we have tried to fix things in the past, then it just hasn't worked out. It's just one of those things where when we do try to fix things, sometimes it even feels like we make it worse. So those are just a couple of the topics that have to do with fear. And if there's others that relate to you, or maybe you've seen that have been popping up around, then you can call and schedule your emotional wellness visit to be able to start working through those today. Now, please don't forget to like and subscribe and ting the bell so that you can receive updates on all the newest videos. I hope you enjoy these, and make sure that you share these with other people, as it may be able to help them. We'll see you next time.